Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of What's Happening Horse Games. It has been a while, I am still in the middle of a move, but I am finally moving out in about 3 days, so I'm very excited about that. But today we actually do have a lot to get into, so we're just gonna dive right in because there's just been some great news and some really sad news, but I'll let all of this kind of play out as it is. We're first going to be starting with some good news. The Windstorm Legend of Kimori, which is a game being developed by SSO Interactive, will be released on the 4th of November 2025, obviously, and it's going to be an early access release. Now, Equinox is a game that did release in early access, and it wasn't too great. It had some issues. I am a little bit concerned for Legend of Kimori, seeing as the development did have some issues with trying to kind of make its core game mechanic, which is riding from point A to point B, interesting. So I'm quite curious to see how they sort of solved that problem and what's going to be the gameplay in essence, and if it's going to be as buggy as the SSO games often end up being. But I do believe that it is going to be a lot better than their other game that they made, which is Horsetails Emerald Valley Ranch, which was just an absolute mess upon release. So I'm very sort of cautiously excited. I don't like the fact that they're focusing so much on breeding. This is a problem that I think horse games are sort of struggling with right now, but that is another topic for another day. I do hope the best for Kimori. The animations, I just actually want to reverse there real quick, because the animations is something that a lot of people have been sort of mentioning. If we look at this canter, it feels very blocky, very struggly. It doesn't look great. Although that section right there where the horse is sliding down from the hill, that looks very good. So I do think that there are some good elements and some bad elements here. But I am very excited to see what's going to be happening on the 4th of November. And just like Equinox, I'm going to give the game some time to, bake a little bit, just to ensure that it was in the oven for enough time so that I don't review it on day one and then end up just saying it's a terrible game. I am hoping for the best here. Wait a second, was that some... Did I just see horse... Oh. Yes! No. Am I seeing horse gadoodles? Horse acorns? There. Am I seeing horse acorns? Because the leg is there, so it's not the... not the hoof. Okay, so we possibly have horse acorns? That's an interesting addition. I don't know. Maybe it's just my imagination, but those look like horse acorns. Stallion little acorns, what do you call them? Anyway, looks like that. I'm moving on. Let's move on. All right, so next story is going to be Rival Stars Horse Racing, specifically the desktop edition. And I want to say this, they have been knocking it out of the park, because we are going to be getting the Anglo-Arab, which is another breed, all right? It's just another breed. But there is something else to get excited about. And this is very fresh news. They're going to be adding some more story content. I am very excited about this. They're calling it Leaping Legends, is bringing a major expansion to story mode for cross-country and steeplechase. For anyone wondering what's next and looking for new ways to continue their Rival Stars journey, this update has plenty to explore. You'll meet brand new characters with their own stories to uncover, reconnect with familiar faces popping back into the action, and take on a series of fresh challenges designed to keep every race feeling exciting and unpredictable. So this is really cool. I love seeing this because this is extra content being added onto the desktop edition at no extra or extra pricing, and I love to see stories being expanded on, and I like the stories in Rival Stars. It gives me motivation to play the game. It also gives me a new reason to get back into the game. I think that they really should focus a lot more on the story elements for Rival Stars, especially in the desktop edition, just because the online isn't there. That X element isn't there. The X element is obviously online because you're interacting with other players, especially with the with the mobile version of the game. And of course you have the, the consistent updates and the, consistent, leaderboards and stuff going on there. Whereas with the desktop, that's not as much of a focus. This is more a single player experience. So seeing more stories and stuff being added into this game is great. And I'm very happy to see it. Just really awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. All right, so next thing that I want to chat about is actually a jousting game that is currently in early access. I love jousting games, or I just love jousting in general. There's the history of it, and the fact that it exists is really cool. So this is in early access. There is a couple of reviews still. I'm not sure exactly how the game is being received at this point, but let's read out some stuff here and see what the game is going to be about. The first historical jousting simulator running on Unreal Engine 5. I will talk about that in a moment. Choose an environment and an opponent and prove your worth in the list through physics-based confrontation. The experience emulates the rules and feel of the rules and feel of a joust in the early 1500s when jousting was at its most popular. The game is in early access. Our future plan is to improve core features, add more environments and opponents. Why do I keep saying opponents? Introduce character customization, equipment, horse and armor upgrades, implement replay features, and above all, develop a narrative story mode with strategic choices, dialogues, rivalries, and a system for managing reputation and honor. Also, just something here at the very end, the experience was created by Vestigia, an independent studio founded by historians and dedicated to producing accurate historical simulations. We want to expand it further and explore many other historical settings, help us develop a new way to enjoy history. I think this is an awesome concept. As I said, I love history, and I love specifically, jousting and the concept of it. So I just really want to play this game. I'm going to be playing it. Hopefully I can get at least, a squeak play or something out of it. I haven't done a squeak play in a while. I really should do that again. But I'm very excited about it. So before I move on from this game, I really briefly want to touch on the Unreal Engine 5 problem. So in a recent article from PC Gamer, Tim Sweeney blames ongoing issues with games developed using UE5, Unreal Engine 5, on a lack of optimization for low-spec hardware early on in dev cycle. Unreal Engine 5 performance issues aren't the fault of Epic, which is the owners of Unreal Engine 5, but instead down to developers prioritizing top-tier hardware, says CEO of Epic, Tim Sweeney. This misplaced focus ultimately leaves low-spec testing until the final stages of development, which is what is being called out as the primary cause of the issues we currently see. Tim Sweeney's comments may explain what developers are getting wrong, or perhaps it's a case of Epic trying to save face with Unreal Engine 5 in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons right now. Right, so this has been an issue. A lot of Unreal Engine 5 games have been struggling to have good performance. This has been an ongoing issue, and we actually see this with the current big horse game that is out for horse games, which is Equinox. If we scroll down to Equinox's, need for, its hard drive need, we see that it has like a i9 core processor, and this game is made with Unreal Engine 5. An i9 core processor for this game is insane. It is completely nuts. I should not need an i5 core processor an i9 core processor to play this horse game. It's crazy. So it is sort of an example of the issue. Like, we're experiencing this with horse games with Equinox right now. Unreal Engine is just not a very well optimized engine. Or rather, according to Sweeney, it is a very well optimized engine. Developers just aren't putting in the work to optimize it for, lesser hardware. And the problem is, I actually am inclined to believe it's the developers, because we are seeing a lot more games, not only from Unreal Engine, but other games as well, coming out that just aren't optimized. So there is sort of a disconnect between the developers and the work that needs to be put in order to make it, optimal for the hardware. But this is another topic for another day. I just wanted to mention this because so many new indie developers are jumping on Unreal Engine 5, and it can be a time sink and a problem. If you are going to be making a game, and it's especially a smaller game, rather focus on engines like Godot, Unity, Even game maker, don't be afraid or shy away or be embarrassed to use smaller engines. You don't need realistic graphics to make a great horse game. You just need to make a good game. And Unity can do that just as well as Unreal. Especially if you don't know what you're doing and you're very new, I'd suggest going to the smaller engines. But that's just my opinion in this matter. All right, so with let me just see if I can pronounce this. Vestigia Joust. Go and check it out. It is currently in early access. And yeah, I'm probably going to be making a video about it because I just love jousting. Anyway, moving on. Right, so Equire is the next game that we're going to be talking about. This is mostly a management type of game with a lot of creativity that's going in, which I think is a really good move because players do like to customize and create their, their homes and their stuff, and that's something that a lot of people will appreciate. Now, they have made a new update where they focus on the competition system. So we have beginner, intermediate, advanced, professional, and elite competitions. To enter higher levels, your horse and rider need to gain eligibility by placing in lower levels. Keep in mind, entering a competition will block part of your training schedule for that month, so you'll need to plan carefully. Your horse also needs to be in peak mental and physical condition to deliver the best results. This sort of reminds me of the game Ride that came out. I believe it's Big Fish that made the game, or they published the game. I think it was Dancing Dots. I'm gonna have to put that up there. I think it was Dancing Dots who made it, but it's a game where the horse's form and morale is just as important as the horse's form. So this sort of reminds me of that, which I think is really good because a horse that is mentally not there, or as they call it today, trigger stacked, that could cause a lot of problems. So it goes on to say, before competing, you'll be able to view your competitors and walk the parkour to get a feel for what to expect. Then you'll start the first round, aiming to complete it without gaining faults, such as knocking down poles or exceeding the time limit. If multiple riders finish without faults, there will be a second round to determine the winner based on time and faults. And that is absolutely the way that show jumping competitions work, so that's awesome. It goes on to say, competitions offer prestige and money based on placement and level. If you or your horse's prestige is low, performing well at a high-level event can be a big boost. On the other hand, if you're a world-renowned rider on $1 million steed and fail at a beginner competition, you'll lose a lot of prestige and make headlines for the wrong reasons. I love that. It gives a little bit more edge to the thing and gives you motivation to compete in higher events and gives you some stakes when you're competing. I really like that. It depends on sort of how it's implemented, but the idea does sound very interesting. So they also goes on to say that they have added more to the building system, flexibility and customizations. So that is, very great. And then it's polish and presentation. They created new UI elements, added lots of new objects, introduced a painting object on which you can change the image inside by interacting with it. And they have posted 2 videos on Instagram and TikTok. Let me go check that out. I did not actually see that part. Make a look at that. I don't know how I missed this. Am I following you? Follow back. Why am I not following? I'm following you now. I'm very sorry, Equire the game. I'm a terrible person. But let's take a look at this. So here we have a little video about these stables. That actually looks pretty good. I like that. Remember, this is one person making this, so please keep that in mind. I'm not a fan of the realistic graphics. I wish people would move away from it, but it's fine. This is what it is, and as long as the game is good, I don't really mind the graphics all that much. And I actually like the look of this. It's quite nice. Horsey. Oh, look at that walk. That's actually a pretty ass walk. Damn. All right, so next video is, again, showing the inside of the stable. Actually, the same video. Oh, no, there's some building. Oh, it shows us how he's building the building. Oh, that's cool, though. It's like The Sims with horses. I love it. Well, just horses, Sims with only horses. I love it. Oh, look at that. Oh, my God. I can just imagine, like, Abigail and Peachy just making, like, 70 billion videos building stables. Like, you guys have so many videos of just building stables. It's fun to watch, but I can just imagine like 30 other million videos coming out about just building stables. It looks like he's adding a lot of customization options. Oh, we are going to see so many building of stables. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm just not good at it though. Like, you guys are just going to see Cthulhu monstrosities being poured out of my soul. But this is really cool. I mean, look at Oh, you should actually add like a modding community to this game. I think that would be work very well, because if you can add like a lot of mods, like people making mods and stuff for this game, it's gonna work so well. So this one I did watch earlier, and the building looks great, the jumping looks off. The canter looks, it looks a little odd, like the legs are still a little bit too far out. I'm just gonna like it. There's some, it's still jank. I think that's the best to explain. Like, the game is still obviously in very early access. It still looks very jank. I wish the guy that made pro show jumping could make like this guy's animations. That would work so well. I don't like the legs that are sticking out to the side. I just squeeze them in. Just squeeze them in, buddy. Just squeeze those legs in. Ugh. Anyway, but yeah, I think it does look great, like for a single player game. I especially love the customization. I think that's gonna capture a lot of people's hearts. Oh, here are some of the horses. Oh, look at that. That's so pretty though. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, look at them. Sorry. Okay, I'm getting, I usually don't get all worked up over cars, but this looks so nice. That's a glossy ass horse though, I'm gonna say that though, like, wow. So Astride has been adding some updates. It's just been tweaking workshops and events. So Marius has added the halt, which is really good. It looks pretty nice. I think that out of all the games that are currently being developed, I think that this one does have the best animations. It is so pretty. I really wish they'd focus more on the, like, gameplay, but that's just me. Alright, so having gotten the update and the new interaction system out of the way last month, I started working on the next update. It is with the coming update that it will finally be possible to own more than one horse. That's really exciting. And I had to tweak the code a bit to make that possible. Another new addition will be multiple slots, which required some changes to how data is saved and loaded. Both of these features were planned well in advance, and I had written most of my code with that in mind. There will still be a few things that had to be changed to actually make it work. With it being possible to own multiple horses, I started on code for breeding. Data from two horses are used to generate a new horse that inherits the parent's traits with some variations. It took some time to code all the different parts, and I also had to update some of the existing code, as there were a couple of places I hadn't taken mixed breeds into consideration. So they're adding breeding, and they have added I believe they are adding, or they have added upcoming update that it will be possible to own more than one horse. So upcoming update, we're going to be owning more than one horse. And we finally have the thing with knocking poles. It only took them 3 years, but we can finally knock a pole. I feel like, okay, look, I really like Astride, but this was such a frustrating thing to see. Like, this is something that should have been added from the get-go since day one. Knocking a pole. I'm sorry, God, okay, so I'm so annoyed, and I'm so if the game hadn't been, look at this. Making a game with Unity dots and multiplayer functionality is very different from making a game without them. And the learning curve has definitely been steep. Luckily, I've had Camilla to help me along the way. So if we didn't have multiplayer functionality, we would have had a concept for good gameplay earlier. I don't know if that is the case, but it feels like the case, especially when things like this are said. I'm going on a tangent. It's just so frustrating because Astride could have landed so hard, but multiplayer, I am starting to despise the word multiplayer because I feel like it messes up so many horse games. Alright, anyway, sorry. But yeah, Astride did have some updates. It looks like they're moving at a very slow pace forward, but hopefully we'll see something good in the near future. Moving on, we're actually talking about something a little bit exciting, which is a new horse game that has landed on Steam. It is not released yet. It is still has to be released. Why aren't you playing? Here we go. This is the game, and I am sorry for the grainy thing. It's just my internet. But this looks very, very good. This looks like a gameplay game. This is a fantasy horse game with archery and magic, and I'm excited. I'm actually, this looks interesting. The graphics are okay-ish. Like, I can already hear, like, people complaining about the fact that the graphics don't look like Red Dead Redemption. And I get that frustration. But I am pretty excited. It looks like there's some, RPGing there. Feel her thoughts. I don't know what the hell that means. To kingdom my sorrow welcome. Let sorrow sing its song, I will always answer. I love this. Like, there's some thought here. Horse model, I know people aren't gonna like it. I'm fine with it. I'm just happy to see some actual gameplay. This looks like gameplay. Look at this little flying gargoyle thing. It looks like a game. This is what I like. It doesn't look like an activity. It looks like something I can interact with, something that I can struggle with, something that I can fail at. It sounds weird. I want to be able to fail in my games because it sounds weird, but that makes it interesting. When there are stakes, I can, get invested into what I'm doing. But Equitania is, and I quote, a horse racing game focused on archery. Jump over obstacles and slow down time to land perfect mid-air trick shots with ease. Chain them into impressive combos to complete challenges. Bond with your horse, level up, and explore a world full of secrets as you search for your missing sister. There's a story, there's gameplay, there's something here, and I'm very excited about this. This looks like really something else other than a cozy game with multiplayer. Like, I'm so sick and tired. If I hear one more person saying, I'm making a cozy game, I'm possibly gonna throw myself out of a window. Look at this. You can actually, like, I have tried the horse creator, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it is pretty awesome. There's still some bugs that are still being, worked through. I am just very excited about this. It's a really cool concept, really unique, which is something I think horse games desperately need. We need something unique. And this is unique. I'm very excited to see where this leads. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm going to possibly, hopefully be making a video about this. But if you do want to learn more, you guys can go check out Sandy DARKFALL's video. She had a full interview with the developer. I will link her video down below. Please go and check out this video if you haven't already, if you want to learn more about Equitania. I'm very excited about this game, and I really think that other people should be too. It looks like such a cool concept. Anyway, check it out when you do have a chance. And now for, well, some sad news. Riding Club Championships shut its doors on the 1st of August 2025. This came after an announcement on the 26th of July saying that they were sunsetting the game. Now, Riding Club Championships came out in 2007. It was originally on the Riding Club Championships website, and then it shifted over to Facebook. And then in 2017-18, or 16, they moved it over to Steam, and that was its home for the last 9 years or so. Now, this is kind of sad, as I used to play Riding Club Championships all the way back in 2007. I was really excited for the game. I was really angry when it moved over to Facebook because it was just not... It just wasn't that great. I don't know. It just lost a lot of its spark when it happened. But thing is, like, if you look at Riding Club Championships players, before this, you will see that the game, it had about 12 players, 10 players, 11, 9, 5. That was sort of the amount of players that this game was getting. In comparison, to its original launch, it had, like, its peak was 198. So it wasn't really a game that captured people as well as it did, I think, when it first came out. But it is sad to see Riding Club Championships die because, I mean, it was the longest ongoing MMO of all horse games, with Star Stable running in second. And, like, it's 18 years that's just gone, which is, that's kind of sad. I used to play it. It's gone now. I feel bereft. The best way to explain it. I feel bereft in a way, and I haven't played it in a while, but just the fact that it's not there anymore to not play just kind of makes me sad. I wish I'd played it more. It was the first chat room that I really interacted with. It was so cool. And now it's gone. Like I say, I feel bereft. Anyway, it's all light a candle for Riding Club Championships. It's been dead for a month. I'm very late. But let's move on to the next topic. Barbie Horse Trails announcement trailer. So Barbie is making a new game. It has been 20 years since the last Barbie trail game or horse game. It looks terrible. The model that they're using is from a current Barbie horse model, so yeah, it's fine. But it's very cutesy. It's very sweet. It could surprise me. Like, I did play the Horse Club Adventures 2, which did surprise me. It was actually a bizarrely good game. And this game is, it looks like made for 10-year-olds. I think that is the demographic here. Maybe I'm just being unfair, because at the end of the day, as I'm thinking, kids, little girls still love horses, and it's great that they are still making horse games for little girls, because girls still love them. I just wish that they would make these games better and not as patronizing as they are, just to kind of encourage girls to play more games, because if they give them a good game to play, then they might explore other games. Yeah, just wanted to kind of mention this. Barbie is bringing out a game. I'm not sure when. Let's see if they can say here. Coming soon! So no, there's no thing. Oh, actually, before I do move on, Windstorm, Legend of Komori. I want to say this. You guys are awesome for having your roadmap like this. You can actually go and check out their entire roadmap. You just go look at everything that they're doing here, which is pretty awesome. And I also love the fact that there is no multiplayer. It is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyway, so this kind of shows you where they're working, what they're doing, how far they are with certain things. This is nice. I am still so terrified of being disappointed, but I am starting to feel a little bit more optimistic, if only for the fact that I think no matter how this game is coming out, it's going to be better than Equinox. Equinox is going to be my new punching bag. I am not happy with that game. All right. So, for the last thing of this video, I'm going to be talking about Star Stable. And I'm going to be giving Star Stable a lot of credit today. So, in this new blog post, they are talking about the fact that they are adding the Andalusian and they're retrofitting tack. Now, retrofitting tack, we're all happy about. They're slowly working to that. So, they're listening in that regard. But the Andalusian is a very beautiful horse that I love. I love the Andalusians. It was one of my favorite horses for a very long time. I now kind of lean more towards the Lipizzaner, but I just love the Baroque style of horses. They're just so freaking pretty. But the thing that really, really made my heart jump was this, and I quote, "Regarding health and welfare, we were very mindful about addressing certain common issues. For gaits, we made sure no front legs were paddling to the sides. In movement, we kept the horse on or in front of the vertical, and detailed discussions were had about a healthy neck thickness and no EMS, equine metabolic syndrome, in sight. Our new and improved Andalusian is all packaged and ready for its arrival at Jorvik Stables on September 10th. We hope you enjoy riding it as much as we enjoyed making it." Well freaking done, Star Stable. I talked about this in a video where I discussed the fact that unhealthy horse animations are becoming the norm in games, and instead of doubling down, Star Stable said, you know what? Let's rather promote healthy horse types. And you can say what you will about the previous models, that's fine. They listened. They decided to do something good for horses. And with the current atmosphere or the current climate of, oh, good grief, we have dressage riders getting eliminated. We have so many new rules getting implemented into dressage in order to, curb this amount of abuse that's currently going on in dressage. Just go and read up on it. It is horrifying, the amount of things that are currently going on. And this is such a nice thing to see in that climate, to see a huge company, and this is a huge company. They decided, you know what, we're not going to lean into the ugliness of it. We're going to try and rather make it good. And maybe it's not going to be great. Maybe there might still be problems. But the fact that they are actively thinking about it, it is nice to see. They are acknowledging the fact that there are problems in the horse industry, and they have decided to not perpetuate that. So well done, Star Stable. You get a double up thumbs from me. This is really cool, and I sincerely appreciate it. As someone who loves dressage, who wants to see it get better, I am very, very grateful for the fact that you're doing this. Honestly, well done. And I think we should all go to Star Stable and tell them well done, because it is such a small thing, but I think it matters so much in the long term for horse gamers. So, yay, Star Stable! Have a Jorvik shilling. You earned it. I haven't said that in a while. But that is the end of my video. That was a lot to cover, actually. But thank you all, as always, so much for watching. Thank you to my Ko-Fi supporters. Please remember to like and subscribe. And yeah, you should all have an amazing day. Bye, guys!